Welcome to the second part of the video about Ikki the Phoenix. We begin. The 12 Temples. House of Gemini. While resting inside the volcano on the island of Canaan to heal his arm after Hyuga froze it in their confrontation, Ikki feels the start of the battle in the sanctuary and the problems that Shun was facing the Gemini Knight. So to help him he attacks the mind of the sanctuary patriarch, Saga, with his cosmos, which interferes with the illusions created by him in the Gemini house, momentarily saving Shun. After helping, Ikki returns to his recovery. Anime. While Ikki was recovering, 2 disciples of Shaka, Shiva, and Agara, were sent to confront him. Ikki manages to defeat them with great difficulty, especially when Shaka himself interferes at a distance to the point of even stopping the cosmos of Athena that was going to help Ikki. House of Virgo. He appears just in time to save his brother, who had been defeated, as well as Seiya and Shiri who were lying unconscious. The confrontation with Shaka is inevitable and Ikki is overcome by his immense power. During the battle, Shaka reminds Ikki of his old encounter on the island of the Death Queen and Ikki feels all the fear of that occasion again. Ikki always keeps attacking Shaka but his techniques have no effect, because even though his power has increased, Shaka already knows how it works. Even Ikki's devilish illusion has no effect and is reverted to Ikki. But just as Ikki's techniques do not work with Shaka, Shaka's techniques have not had any effect on Ikki. So Shaka decides to prepare in a special way to face Ikki. Shaka opens his eyes and displays all his power through his technique Maximum, the Treasure of Heaven. Ikki loses his 5 senses one by one, and when Shaka was going to stop his heart, Shun stops him. But Ikki mentally talks to him and tells him to let Shaka continue. Shaka again prepares to stop Ikki's heart, but Ikki he blocks it with his 6th sense, so Shaka also deprives him of this sense. Ikki questions Shaka why, having an almost divine power, he decides to serve the evil Pope. But Shaka replies that being a saint of Athena does not limit him to fight for good or evil. But that just as he perceived goodness in his heart on the island of the Death Queen, he perceives goodness in the heart of the Patriarch. Now that Ikki has no meaning left, Shaka was about to stop his heart. But what Shaka did not count on is that he has fallen fully into Ikki's trap and the miracle happens. Now that Ikki only depends on his 7 degrees sense, his cosmos burns to the maximum, which completely covers the zodiacal house. Shaka himself goes so far as to say that Ikki's cosmos already surpasses his power, despite being himself, Shaka, a golden knight. As this effect happens, Ikki rushes to grab Shaka from behind and burn their cosmos to such a degree that they both explode. Shaka tells Ikki that a victory in which he is going to lose his life is of use to him, but Ikki replies that this is the only way to win someone with Shaka's power. And so Shaka is defeated and the Bronze Knights can move on, with the apparent sacrifice of Ikki. Return of the Phoenix. Shaka and Ikki survive the explosion, but have fallen into a dimension where time and space are distorted, from which Shaka could easily return alone. However, in his eagerness to save Ikki, he requests Mu's help. Aries. Back at Virgo's house, Shaka encourages Ikki to continue his fight against the Patriarch. But the Phoenix armor has disappeared. Shaka takes a handful of his ashes and manages to bring the Phoenix armor back to life, in the manga with an evolution to its V2 form. Manga. On his way to the Patriarch's room, Ikki meets the dying Shiri, Hyuga, and Shun in the last houses of the shrine, who encourage him to move on. Ikki continues on, having to leave his brothers behind, but thanks the universe for having been able to be born as brothers and meet them in this era, because together they have lived important things. Chamber of the Patriarch. Ikki arrives just at the moment when Saga, the Patriarch, was preparing to finish off Seiya. Ikki now faces Saga instead of Seiya. Saga and Ikki face off with their mental techniques, the devilish illusion of the Phoenix and the Imperial Satan, but the confrontation ends in a draw, as Ikki obeyed Saga's first order and the rest was an illusion of the Phoenix against him. Manga. Due to the tie, Saga decides to use his maximum technique, the explosion of galaxies, managing to leave Ikki badly injured and that his cosmos reverberates throughout the sanctuary. But Ikki has not yet died, and with his last forces he protects Seiya from a second explosion of galaxies, which this time leaves nothing but dust from Ikki's existence. Anime. Saga continues the fight against Ikki, who returns easily from his other dimension, so to finish him off, Saga collapses the Patriarch's chamber, leaving Ikki buried in the rubble. But this is not enough, and later on Ikki is rescued by Sayori and the other saints to continue the final fight against Saga at the foot of the Athena statue. Saga of the Golden Ring. In the Golden Ring saga, Ikki appears to help his companions free Hilda of Polaris from the power of the Nibelung Ring. He confronts Mime of Bennett Nasada, to whom he shows that his adoptive father Focal killed his biological parents by mistake, not knowing that his enemy had a family. He cared for him like a son, and he wished that Mime was a warrior who would protect Asgard and not a musician, so he lied about his origin to show his power, and Mime ends up killing him and hid his Aang. And Hilda gave him the mantle of Bani Tash so that with his robes he would eliminate his enemies, and in the end he believed that Phoenix and Andromeda would do a peaceful world, and dies during the fight with Phoenix. In the Valhalla Palace he helps Shun and Shayna against Bud de Alcor, Cid de Mizar's twin brother, who hated his brother for having everything and he nothing, even the position of God Warrior. But Phoenix makes him see that he wanted to protect his brother, since he had helped him in his confrontation against Aldebaran in the House of Taurus. And later Cid tells him that he knew of his existence and that he wishes he were the warrior god of Zeta. In the end Bud understood that his brother did not, it was his luck, and he takes Cid's body with him. Poseidon Saga. Pillar of the Southern Ocean. Ikki reappears after being pulverized by Saga's explosion of galaxies only until the Bronze Knights have fallen to Kakadali Amades, the fearsome hunter of hearts. Ikki appears beating Kaka for playing with the feelings of his brothers. And although Kaka defends himself, Ikki manages to stop Kaka's satanic salamander without problems and counterattacks him with his diabolic illusion, taking the appearance of Kaka so that he cannot attack itself. Kaka actually manages to survive the burning wings of the Phoenix and takes the form of Shun to try to kill Ikki, but Ikki knows that the real Shun is at his feet and pierces Kaka's chest. Kaka falls in agony, but wants to know what Ikki's true weakness is, because the image of his brother was not enough to make him fall. So by inquiring into Ikki's mind and heart, Kaka manages to find the memory of Esmeralda, the girl who was his love on the island of the Death Queen, since he would only give his life to her. Apparently Kaka really managed to project that illusion in Ikki's mind, since he accepts that only for Esmeralda he would die, but that his memory is what gives him strength. Finally Ikki destroys the pillar. Road to the Temple of Poseidon. Ikki now heads to the Temple of Poseidon to directly end the origin of the threat, but is intercepted by the General Dragon Marino, who emanates a cosmos too familiar to Ikki and even attacks him with the explosion of galaxies, after which the general is revealed as the twin brother of Saga de Gemini. But Kanan does not plan to commit Saga's mistakes, and instead of trying hard to hurt Ikki, he sends him to another dimension through the Golden Triangle to prevent him from recovering and resurfacing as a phoenix. Pillar of the North Atlantic Ocean. Ikki manages to return from the Golden Triangle with the help of Athena to confront Kanan on his pillar, and it precisely arrives when Kanan spoke of his personal plans for Poseidon. Immediately, Ikki attacks Kanan with his devilish illusion to reveal his true intentions. And it is thus that Ikki knows about his relationship with Saga, his confinement in Cape Saunian, and the awakening of Poseidon. Once he gets the truth out of Kanan, Kiki and Sorrento arrive to help Ikki tear down the pillar, after which Ikki receives a beating. As Kanan's plans fall apart, as Emperor Poseidon is slowly awakening in the battle that is being fought in his temple, but Ikki still does not have the information he needs, the form to lock Poseidon back in Athena's vessel. And as soon as Kanan tells him the location of the vessel, Ikki retreats to aid in the battle, saying that Kanan isn't even worth fighting anymore. Poseidon's Temple. Ikki arrives at the Temple of Poseidon to join the battle. and arrives just to help his friends destroy the central pillar, where he catches the god of the sea from behind, allowing Seiya, dressed in Sagittarius armor, to pass to try. Destroy main support. Anime. In the anime he helps Seiya with his cosmos to cross the pillar and Athena to enclose Poseidon's soul, to finally be taken by Athena with her companions to the surface. Hades Saga. In the Sanctuary manga, Ikki does not appear during this stage of the war. Anime. Ikki makes an appearance to confront Shiri, telling him that the Bronze Saints are not the place for them. But Shiri confronts him saying that his duty is to protect Athena, after which Ikki tells him that he has seen another deluded, Seiya, in the Colosseum. Then, Ikki watches Seiya and Shiri from afar, while sensing the cosmos of Shun, who has also come to battle at the shrine. In the fifth prison of hell, Ikki appears to help Kanan, who had problems when facing the three judges and being subdued by the cosmic puppet of Minos. But the moment, Kanan tells him that his brother has become the king of the underworld, Hades, and that now Pandora takes care of him. But the very name of Pandora makes him remember that he had already known her for a long time, in a blurry memory of his childhood. Ikki is pensive. So Garuda's Aakos takes the opportunity to attack him, and Ikki begins to cry, saying that Shun is such a noble person that once again he is willing to sacrifice his life to save others. Now Ikki concentrates on the battle against Aakos. Ikki receives Garuda's flapping once, and the second time he manages to counterattack Aakos, since he is like the phoenix that always rises. But Ngaidaka, Hades, and Pandora manage to feel the aggressive cosmos of Ikki in their combat, which makes Hades feel nostalgic, so he asks Pandora to bring him into his presence. As Ikki has been a good rival, Aakos decides to use his maximum technique, the Galactic Illusion, which leaves Ikki badly injured, but Ikki gets up again and attacks Aakos with his diabolical illusion, bringing the fate of the judge. It is sealed and Ikki manages to defeat it. Right after defeating Aakos, Pandora transports Ikki into the presence of Hades. Ikki is surprised to see his little brother turned into the god of the underworld. So Pandora returns Ikki his erased memories, and Ikki remembers that it is true, that since Shun was born he was already under the sight of Hades. But Ikki is insistent and breaks Hades's earring, pretending that Hades leaves his brother's body. Pandora attacks Ikki several times, who does not show respect to the god, but Hades tells Pandora that his meeting with Ikki is not over yet. Ikki is the first person to whom Hades reveals his plan to turn the world into a world of death and darkness through the great eclipse. Ikki continues to confront Hades, slapping Shun to make him react. But Hades tells him that this will only hurt his brother's body. And something happens. Shun's body begins to rebel against Hades's soul and takes hold of the neck, to the time Shun's spirit appears and asks Ikki to kill him. Ikki and Pandora are stunned. Ikki cries for the fate of Shun. As the Knight of Andromeda, his destiny is to sacrifice himself to save others. Ikki intended to hit Shun but failed. Ikki is unable to kill his brother and only wounds his fist to stop him. And so the opportunity is lost. The soul of Hades takes control again. This time 100%, and Shun's hair changes to black as a signal. Thus, Hades defeats Ikki and is sent by Valentine to Cocytos. The Wailing Wall. Ikki is saved from Cocytos by Pandora, who after all the events has reacted and has realized that she has been used as an object by the gods. Pandora tells him about her origin and that of Hades, and Ikki understands how she went to look for Shun when they were children. But Pandora has betrayed Hades, so Thanatos will not allow her to stay alive for long. With her last moments, Pandora grants Ikki her only privilege as Hades' sister, the necklace that allows her to be anywhere in the underworld, inclusive a new dimension. Ikki agrees and Pandora passes away, so Ikki agrees to take his hatred and suffering to avenge her. The last surviving specters attack Ikki and he defeats them, telling them that Hades' promises are false. Now that all of Shaka's rosary beads have changed color, Ikki leaves for the Champs-Élysées. Ikki arrives at the Champs-Élysées when Thanatos has already subdued the other Bronze Knights, then Ikki says that he is there to avenge them all. The victims of hell, but Thanatos is a god who feels no remorse for the death of humans and attacks Ikki, destroying Pandora's necklace. Ikki attacks Thanatos and manages to blow her mask off, but because of this Thanatos accepts that against Ikki she must use her personal technique, Terrible Providence. Thanatos attacks all the knights, destroying the bronze armor, and before it the golden armor sent by Poseidon arrive to help the bronze knights. But it is useless, as Thanatos once again destroys the armor, this time the most powerful of the knights. After awakening the divine armor of Pegasus and defeating Thanatos, Caia leaves for the Temple of Hades and the knights remain to fight with Hypnos. Ikki starts the fight but still has no armor, so Shun saves her by awakening her own divine armor and allows Ikki to advance to help Caia. Ikki arrives at the Temple of Hades to help Caia and attacks the amphora in which Athena is. But his power is returned. Ikki also tries to attack the soul of Hades that floats on a column, but that attack also returns. Ikki understands that without an armor he will not be able to achieve his full potential, and the miracle happens. As his cosmos burns on the spilled blood of Athena impregnated in his fingers, this gives him the divine armor of the Phoenix. Now Ikki is ready to continue the fight and goes with Caia to attack the body of Hades that lies in the mausoleum, but Hades rushes and takes control of his body, attacking Ikki with his sword. After all the saints gather, they all attack Hades with all their might, but the battle goes on for too long. After a tough battle, Athena covers them all in spheres that will take them to the world of the living, because now it is their turn to face Hades. In the end, Ikki sees Caia's sacrifice and helps Athena with his cosmos in order to defeat Hades.